For the next week or so, I want to talk about embracing the complexity of relationships, mostly because this is something that I know so many of us struggle with, and it's something that I've been seeing play a lot, unfortunately, in recent times. So I think it's something worth talking about. Now, when I talk about the complexity of relationship, it's because I think a good number of relationships are more complex than we would want them to be, and in all honesty, more complex than expected. We have this cookie cutter framework of what friendships are and what friendships should be, and they should always be easy, and it should always be if someone is offended, someone apologizes, and people never fight and they're all happy. But then the reality of things is that that is hardly ever the case, and relationships are more complex than we expect. Now, when you are faced with these complexities, you have two options off the top of my head. There may be more. But what I'm thinking is you either have the option of facing it and addressing what exactly is going on there, or you have the option of just letting go and being like, nope, this is not working for me. I don't want to have to deal with this, and just maybe cutting the person off. And when I say relationships, I don't necessarily mean like intimate relationships. It could be a friend, it could be a colleague, it could be a parent. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything intimate. Now, like I said, two ways you could go about it. You could go about just cutting the person off, or you could actually address whatever is happening and face it heads on. So, first of all, today I wanted to talk about, the complexity of relationships. Why are relationships not as straightforward as we think? And in all honesty, why is that okay? First of all, I think, like I said, a lot of us have these cookie cutter ideas of relationship based on what we've seen, based on not necessarily in real life, maybe what we've seen in a movie, maybe what we've seen in other people's relationships. A lot of times we're always faced with like the happy-go-lucky side of other people's relationship. We don't get to see, I mean, how many people are going to come out into public and let you know that this terrible thing is going on? And that's perfectly fine. But then what that then does for us is in our subconscious, we have this golden idea of what relationship should look like, whether it's a friendship, again, even if it's with a parent. We have an idea of what a father-daughter or father-son relationship should look like. And when things don't exactly go that way or look that way, we begin to panic. It may not be physical panic, like having to run up and down or anything, but it may just be like, inward panic, like something is wrong. This is not exactly how it should be. We need to fix it and all of that. Now, the truth of the matter is that relationships are complex, right? They are not always going to be, as I would say, perfect as we want them to be. A lot of us are willing to accept certain flaws, but it's almost like we have a line where someone can't cross, and once you cross that, that's pretty much the end. And while that is fine, I think just having a deeper understanding of relationships and why we need to embrace the complexities, no matter what complexities those may be, would help us feel a little lighter on the inside, because expectations are like the devil, literally the worst thing. And a lot of sadness comes from expectations. If you didn't have expectations towards certain things, you would be open to trying things out, you'll be open to accepting certain things. But when you have your mind fixated on this is what this should be, this is what this should look like, that's when we begin to have issues, because you've already set like a standard, and when something doesn't meet a standard, you begin to panic. Now, like I said, we need to understand and accept that relationships are going to be complex. I'm going to be talking more about this over the coming days, how to make friends as an adult, how to heal the relationship with yourself, how to heal the relationship with friends. We're going to get how to heal relationship with families, and more ways to build more meaningful relationships. Because really, when you think about life, besides like work, our life is just full of a lot of relationships. And the more that we can find ways to live with it, the more that we can find ways to heal those relationships, the more that we are, just the more happy we are, I would say. So let me know in the comments if this is a topic that you'd love to explore. Let me know what you think about the complexity of relationships. Do you get to a point where you struggle with building relationships because it's like, nope, it's supposed to be this way and it's not this way, so I'm backing out? Or are you more of the, I'm going to fight to make this work until the end? And in all honesty, there really is no right answer between deciding not to handle it or deciding to handle it, because at the end of the day, it's the way that you approach whichever option that matters. But we're going to be talking about this over the coming days. Thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you tomorrow.